everybody, welcome to this edition of the Sum Up. Today we're talking about the best review game that you have never done yet. So last year a buddy of mine and I, we had this problem where we wanted to do a review game, but nothing was worth our time. So if you've ever done a review game, you know that it really just turns into a game and there's no reviewing, or there's like 3 kids that actually get something out of it. So we morphed and conglomerated all of these things that we liked about different review games, and we came up with this one and called it Relay Races. So I want to take you through it and give you an idea of something that you can do with your kids. It was engaging, like literally every kid was into it, which was really cool. It was a great review, they actually learned, and most of all, it was fun and enjoyable, and the kids liked it. So here we go, this is Relay Race. So there is a little bit of prep work that you're going to have to do. So the first part of the prep work is finding a resource that you want to get your questions from. So this could be from Elastic, this could be from your book, this could be from a skills practice. It really doesn't matter. This could be something you made. So the one that you see on the screen right now is a worksheet that I had made and I had just saved on my computer that is solving and writing equations in slope-intercept form from word problems. So you're going to take the worksheet that you have, and a couple things to consider that you're going to need for this is, number one, you want your questions to increase in difficulty. So question number 1 should be a little bit easier all the way up to question number 8 or 10. It usually takes about 8 to 10 questions to fill an entire class period with this game. By the time they get to question 8, 9, 10, you really want those to be challenging, that they're really struggling with, and it's taking a little bit of time for them to get the answer to. So you're going to go ahead and print off however many copies you need for however many students you have. So what I mean by that is, if I have 55 students that I'm going to do the relay race with over the course of the day, I need 55 copies. Or if I have 100 students, I need 100 copies. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take those copies, and I have scissors in the picture, but honestly, to save time, I would use the paper cutter. That's what I did for this video, was use the paper cutter. And you're going to cut each worksheet into strips. So if there's 8 questions or 10 questions on the worksheet, you're going to cut them into strips so that you have 8 or 10 strips based on the worksheet. Again, this is how many questions the groups are going to be completing for their relay race. Now, the next part of this is you need to have some place in the room that's going to be your teacher station during the relay race. So I would just pull over a side table that I had, and that would be kind of my station to be organized in. And you're going to organize your questions and lay them out. So you're going to stack all of your question 1s, all your question 2s, all the way through question 8 or 10, however many you have, on top of each other. So again, if I made 65 copies, I'd have 65 question 1s, 65 question 2s. And this is just simply to organize things and make it easier for you. Because once the game starts, it's really fast paced and you want to be able just to grab what you need really quickly. So I would always organize them this way and be set and ready to go. So really, this is the prep work as far as the questions go. Let's talk about how the room needs to be organized. So remember I said that you need some sort of teacher station. You could have your room set up this way if you have the availability to do so, where you're in the very center of the room, centrally located, everybody can get to you really fast, and you have your groups around the room. My room really wasn't conducive to that, so I had mine set up this way, where I was at the front of the room and the groups were spread out. It still ends up working totally fine either way. It's really just preference and, again, availability of what you have in your room and how you can have it set up. So once your prep work's done, you've got all your strips of paper, you've decided on your groups, and again, I would always do my groups beforehand. Sometimes if you just come into class and you number off, like, hey, let's number off 1 to 5 and get in groups, the groups just don't always work out. Either you have behavior issues that are going to be with each other, or honestly, one of the groups ends up being just kind of stacked and it's not fair and it's not as fun. The game is way more fun when it's competitive, so you're going to kind of strategically plan out your groups to make them about as even as possible so that it is a close race. Okay, so once you've got that done, let's talk about actually playing the game. So to start the game, each group will select a spokesperson, and this student is the only person in the group that's allowed to stand up and move around the room. So nobody else in the group could get up and ask a question. Nobody could come to me except for the spokesperson. The only person I would talk to from the group is the spokesperson. So they really had to communicate everything to the spokesperson. Spokesperson would communicate it to me. So to begin the game, each group's spokesperson came up to the teacher station, wherever you are, and received question number 1. Now, they get as many slips of number 1 as there are in their group. So if I had groups of 5, I would give 5 slips of paper to each group, because every student in the room is going to be completing the problem. We want total participation in this game. So I would give all of them the amount of slips that they needed. Now, if I had my room set up where I was at the front of the room like I did, whatever groups were furthest away from me, I'd give like a 10-second head start. So they got to go back first since they were so far away. When I say go, the spokespeople could go back to their group, and that's when the race begins. So when they get back to their group, the entire group had to complete the problem. So again, we want total participation in this. This isn't one of those games where one person does all the work. Every person in the group has a slip. Every person in the group has to complete the question and show their work. Once everybody's completed the question, showing their work in their group, only the spokesperson, remember, gets to get up, collects all the slips for their group, and brings them up to the teacher. Now, each person in the group has to get the question right. So you see on the screen right now, there's 4 slips, but unfortunately the 4th slip has the wrong answer. This group would not get to move on to the next question. So they bring them up to me, I check them, and honestly, the first probably 2 or 3 times that they bring them up, if it's incorrect, I'm not telling them what the problem is. I'm just saying, oh, that's not correct, go back and fix it. Go back and talk to your group and fix it. Because again, I want this to be them working together as a group. I'm only speaking to the spokesperson. I'm really not answering questions until I know that they've really struggled with it and tried multiple times. So I'd say, nope, not correct. You need to go back to your group and try again. They take all the slips back. Once this person, they found their error and they corrected it, they bring all the slips back up, and I would take them. So they bring all the slips back up, and once the teacher has checked all the group member slips and that they're all correct, I collect them, and I would just have the recycle bin sitting right by me, and I would collect their correct answers, put them in the recycling bin, and give them all question 2. So I'd give that group question 2, however many slips they needed. This process just continues until one group has completed all of the questions. So obviously the group that completes all the questions first, all correctly, wins. And I would always have some sort of prize, whether that was something as easy as candy. You know, you'd be surprised how hard kids will work for some candy or for a sucker or for some chips or something. So I'd have that prize, or I'd have like, you get 2 extra points on your quiz for the winning team. I would usually do a first, second, and a third. Then if there was any groups that still were not complete and they had time left in class, I would pass out the remaining questions that groups didn't get to. Because again, the goal is to review and for every kid to get exposed to the questions that are going to be on the quiz or the test. So I'd pass them out, and then we'd have the remainder of the time to work through the questions that they didn't get to, and then we would close up class after that. So that was relay races, everybody. Baker says, thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. If you're going to try and do it in your class, I'd love to know and come by and check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. See ya.